I feel the burden that so many are lost to sin and realize without the power of the Holy Spirit, our own attempts to rescue them is in vain. The conversations within me continue like a tempestuous sea and the roaring sound of the wind. Yes, these conversations within me, they seem endless. They've become louder than I can bear. I consider the wickedness that was eating the world. It was more than my soul could handle. I set to write. My soul longed for an answer. Perhaps like King David, I might see the answer when I enter the presence of the Most High. It may be that the closeness of His presence might lift the burden from my soul and grant me the grace to see the light of hope in the midst of darkness. The voice that echoed seemed firm as a preacher behind the pulpit speaking to the nations. You have built this with sin and have been overtaken by iniquity. You have said in your hearts, it is only a little thing we do. There is no harm in it. We would rather have our own truth over the truth of God, for we have chosen our own ways. And the devil whispers a thought in your ears. No one needs to know, and you bite the bait willingly with the hook. You didn't know that the cunning serpent found advantage in your ignorance and fed you with your lusts. Are you full now? Here, have some more. Oh, what sorrow and agony! That man's greatest fear will be realized when the great apostasy sweeps the earth, and when sin is given power to reign without mercy. Oh, if you could only realize it sooner, that wickedness has and will continue to destroy the core of every good thing if it is given permission to thrive. The very foundations of society lost to an appetite for lust and selfish desires because the world has forgotten the sovereignty of Elohim and have lingered far deep into the dungeons of perdition. There a fire of horror and doom is prepared, like as a fiery furnace, an untamed tornado that consumes everything in its path. Even if the warning trumpet is blown, and even if wisdom cries out to save, it will seem a wasted effort if we, the church, choose to continue churching without the power of the Holy Spirit. But we need the Spirit in this hour. We need the Holy Spirit for every generation now and in the future to come. Sadly, a powerless church has walked away from the power of God that is able to set the captives free. Mega churches have fallen for entertainment and too busy pleasing the crowds. Their programs, not God's presence, takes precedence. They've become a social club, inwardly focused and outwardly powerless. It goes without saying that they too have consumed the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees without hesitation and have settled with the so-called holy words of religiosity, but not Christ. Even these have trouble hearing, but the power from on high can break that yoke. Oh, if only they can see this, the conversations within me. They cause the burden of God to become weightier within my grief for the lost immeasurable. Righteousness is raged with great indignation. The Holy Spirit directs my attention to deceitfulness that has overtaken the world. Behold deceitfulness. It is poison to the soul and consumes the heart like a terrible disease. Oh, can't you see it? Don't you know that deceit meets calamity and poverty? It dwells with division and destruction whose pathway leads to hell. But if you want good friends, don't make deceitfulness one of them. Its offering is bribery, the cost, a life left in ruins. And again I hear in the distance the words of a preacher, piercing through the soul. Satan, the thief, comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And in the midst of the ocean of death, where there once was light, is now but pitch darkness. There is hope in the Holy Spirit of Christ. Even then, cognitive dissonance refuses to budge, and the worship of idols resumes its fixed posture, stuck in a religious rut, blinded by the bread of Pharisees and Sadducees. The innocent is drowned in silence, and everyone else just looks on with fake blindness and only say within themselves, "It's someone else's problem. Am I really my brother's keeper?" Another casualty, another victim. The words of ignorance again wins, and the voice of truth fades in the wind. When sin grips, it destroys. Fear has become governor, and self-help refuses to be contaminated. It has lost its ability to look beyond itself and has forgotten the parable of the Good Samaritan. Oh, but will the Lord find himself a Good Samaritan? Maybe there is one with clean hands and a pure heart. Perhaps there is a generation willing to rise to the holy hill of the Lord. What will be the great resolve? What will be the great vindication, though? As it may happen, it will be that the apostate finally faces his demise before the white throne of judgment and will have to answer for his own deeds. There and then will sin, nor hell, nor death, nor Satan and his demons have any power to justify the apostasy that poisoned the foolish and corrupted the multitudes.